This is the True Self Manifestation Podcast, and I am your host, Angel Menudo. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, IFS informed coach, and a little woo. Through the years, I've tried all the things to manifest the life I've always wanted, and with much exploration and curiosity, I've learned something major about manifestation. To successfully manifest, we must be in our worth and in alignment with our true self and the universe. And to do this, I use internal family systems to delve deep into addressing potential blocks and barriers that impact self-worth. Each week, I'll show you how to harness IFS to connect with your true self, boost self-worth, and conquer the barriers holding you back in life. Join me on this journey to live authentically, break free from limitations, and manifest your best life. It's not a coincidence you're here. Welcome to the True Self Manifestation Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 28 of the True Self Manifestation Podcast. Today, we're going to talk all about self-doubt and how it blocks your manifestations. But before I get into it, let me just ask you if you could do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. I mean, it would be even greater if you could rate and review the podcast as well. But at the very least, hit subscribe. Rate and review if you're feeling called to it. I would so appreciate it. This helps True Self Manifestation get out there so more people can find it. And I do need that. I need your help. So please hit the subscribe, rate and review if you're called to it. Thank you. Just wanted to throw that out there before we began. So I recently asked my newsletter subscribers, which also you can sign up for the newsletter in the show notes. I will have a link for that. The newsletter goes out every week. It's filled with information and like tips and tricks and skills and tools and all of this stuff to do the things that I talk about every week in the podcast. Sign up for it. It's awesome. I might be biased, but I'm just going to say it. I think it's awesome. So anyways, I recently asked my newsletter subscribers, what frustrates them most about manifesting? What is it that gets in the way? What do they notice are their biggest blocks? And self-doubt around if they truly deserve or can achieve what they're trying to manifest was the most given response. So I wanted to get into that today, the struggling with self-doubt, why we doubt ourselves, the behavioral signs of self-doubt and manifestation, and how to let go of self-doubt to be open to manifestation. After this, you will better understand why you doubt yourself, where it comes from, how it shows up in your life, and what you can do about it so you can become your most magnetic. But first, I want to define what self-doubt is. Self-doubt is the lack of confidence in oneself and one's abilities, often resulting in hesitation, second-guessing, and fear of failure. It can manifest in uncertainty about personal worth, decision-making, or the likelihood of success, leading individuals to question their potential and prevent them from taking action towards their goals. Now, just by hearing that definition of self-doubt, we can see the multitude of ways it keeps us stuck, not only in our manifestation practice, but in many aspects of our lives. And I mean, I've struggled with self-doubt too. I mean, this is why I'm here. Really, I've dealt with all of the things that I talk about on this podcast or write about in my newsletter and my blogs is because I've gone through it and I have worked through it and now I'm here sharing it with all of you. So I fully understand. I spent years doubting myself. And because of this, my manifestation practice greatly suffered. I was a perfectionist. Everything had to be just right. Deep down, I didn't believe I was worthy of manifesting the things that I was trying to bring in. And with every failed attempt, I sunk deeper into that self-doubt. Things didn't change until I decided that I needed to dig in and explore what was going on subconsciously that was blocking me from feeling worthy and deserving of manifestations. It was what was blocking and was feeding that self-doubt. Self-doubt comes from somewhere. I'm sure many of you can remember a time in childhood when self doubt didn't exist. You were fearless, confident. Then something happened that shifted your perspective to begin doubting yourself and your abilities. I mean, I remember like rolling around on oh my goodness, I used to roller skate and that was so much fun. And I was just, I didn't care at all. But then I thought I was cool once and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to skate. And I was like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 maybe. And I was like, oh, I'm going to skate with my hands in my pockets because I'm cool because I'm 8. And I fell and I actually like bruised my face because I fell flat on my face because I couldn't brace myself. That hurt. But because of that, and actually not even because I fell, but it was what everybody said was, "Oh my goodness, you have to be more careful." Like my mother was like, like losing her mind over it, which I understand. I mean, it could have potentially have gone really bad. I mean, I could have broken my nose or something. But after that, it really planted a seed of self-doubt in me where I was so overly cautious. And that's no fun. So that's what I mean, right? Like in childhood, there was a time when it did not exist where we just felt like we could do anything and we didn't have these things come in like fears, anxiety that maybe our caregivers felt to influence us until it happens. And that's what happens, right? And then something happens and it shifts our perspective and we begin doubting. So here are some more ideas of where that self-doubt can come from. Sometimes this can be past failures or disappointments. We often carry the weight of past experiences where we didn't achieve our desired outcome, leading to a belief that we might fail again. For some reason, we think we must get it all right all the time. But in reality, that's so not true. I think it's becoming more known that our failures bring us to our desired outcomes, that the most successful people have a multitude of failures behind them. And this is how they became successful, not by getting it right the first time. No, they became successful by learning from their failures, growing, becoming more flexible, and able to pivot. They've learned not to listen to their egos. Our egos are the one hurt by failures. If we can recognize that, separate from it, we stop personalizing failures and look at them as if it is just a learning opportunity instead. Fear of the unknown is another reason we doubt ourselves. When we manifest, we are stepping into uncertainty. Many of us fear the outcome might not align with our expectations or that change will be overwhelming. We go like worst case scenario instead of looking at it. You don't even have to go like best case scenario, but even neutral case scenario. As a whole, people fear change, even if it's something that we're asking for. A part of us wants to keep things the way it is because it's safe. But we aren't going up against a saber-toothed tiger like our ancestors were. We're manifesting a new job, a new home, love, abundance. We must learn to decipher between real and fictional threats because this part of us is absolutely unable to. Another root is cultural or societal conditioning. One factor of societal or family influence can reinforce skepticism around non-traditional concepts like manifestation, causing us to doubt our beliefs or our abilities. There are other ways conditioning can show up. For example, if we have been conditioned to be more traditionally aligned, marriage, home, children, yet something in you longs for travel, being a nomad. This conditioning can seep in, poking holes in what you want and planting doubts because it goes against what you were conditioned, what you were told. Perfectionism is another. So we may doubt ourselves because we feel like we're not manifesting quote unquote correctly or doing it well enough which leads to self sabotage, keeping us stuck, and not even trying. It'll just like we just go absolute done. We're just done. And the last one that is the root of self doubt is limiting beliefs. Now, of course, I was going to bring up limiting beliefs. I mean, I was not going to let that one slide, right? Many of us hold on to subconscious beliefs that limit our sense of worthiness. Thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve this, all block our manifestations. And if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I feel that limiting beliefs are the major root as to why our manifestations don't come through. Parts of us have held on to these beliefs over the years, allowing them to fester in our subconscious, but dictate all aspects of our lives. Now that we know the potential roots to our self-doubt, I want to explore how it shows up in our lives. This way, you can begin to recognize patterns, behaviors, and begin to do something differently, which we will get to soon. But first, self-doubt can show up in various ways. One is procrastination or inaction. Like we may put off taking steps towards our goals, convinced that it won't work out. This also goes with that perfectionism too. If we don't feel like we're doing it right, we can procrastinate or just not do it. That inaction. Negative self-talk, though, is another. This isn't a behavior, but it does show up internally. And if your inner dialogue sounds something like, I can't do this, or this never works for me, these are clear signs of self-doubt, which also feeds into that procrastination and inaction. Now, our anxious parts may obsess over overanalyzing every detail. And this can be whether we're using the right manifestation practices, techniques, or we're second guessing our intentions overall. Sometimes we just give up too quickly. We may abandon our manifestation efforts after not seeing quick results, reinforcing the belief that it's not possible. We could also seek constant reassurance. We might repeatedly ask others for validation about whether manifestation is real. And this indicates a lack of trust in ourselves. We also might ask others to validate what we're trying to manifest, not having faith that we truly want what we're trying to co-create. Are you ready to end the unconscious cycles and patterns sabotaging your manifestations and experience true magnetism without the blocks from past programming, conditioning, and limiting beliefs so that you can manifest your most amazing life? If you said yes, then I invite you to check out my e-course, How to Manifest Without the Self-Sabotage. This e-course uses techniques from internal family systems to help you align with your true self energy and begin working with those parts of you that have been sabotaging your manifestations. By using these evidence-based practices, you are shifting perception of yourself and the world around you at the root, helping you reprogram and retrain your brain so it is no longer running off of invisible scripts based on past programming, conditioning, and limiting beliefs. Use code 50OFF for $50 off your purchase of How to Manifest Without the Self-Sabotage e-course. The link is in the show notes. Don't wait. Grab this transformative e-course today and start manifesting your most amazing life. And so these are the ways that this can show up in our lives, the behaviors, the patterns, and really it's various ways of inaction or procrastination for different reasons. And so then we take on like how do we get through that? And that's about letting go of self-doubt so you are open to manifestation. Because like I said, I mean, we might not consider this, but self-doubt, as we can see, there is a root cause, and then we can see how it shows up in our lives. And a lot of times we don't even recognize how much our self-doubt is really affecting us. So we need to learn how to let it go so that we can be the best versions of ourselves. And I know I say this often, but becoming mindfully aware of what's going on internally is the key to breaking these thought patterns that contribute to self doubt. Awareness helps us make space between that and our true self. When we're in our true self energy, we feel confident, we're open, curious. Self doubt comes from a part of us, not our true self. Remember, we must be in alignment with our true self to connect with the universe and manifest. When we allow self doubt to take over, true self is not in the room. So, awareness is key. To let go of self doubt before anything else, we must become aware of what the root is. As I said earlier, it can be limiting beliefs, cultural, societal conditioning, past failures, fear of the unknown, perfectionism. No, this is not a comprehensive list. I added the ones that I do see the most. Being mindful of the thoughts around self-doubt paved the way to get to the root. Journaling can help you become aware of this. Once recognized, gently challenge the part holding the belief. Let the part know it is safe to think differently, that you don't agree, that you are undeserving or unworthy. And then begin replacing them with empowering beliefs. Like, I am worthy. I deserve this. See how the part feels about that. If there's a resistance, keep building a relationship between your true self and the part. Give the part some love. This builds some trust with the part and helps the part let go of the root cause. The part didn't probably feel love before, which is why it's holding this limiting belief. And so while we are in true self energy and we can give that love, I mean, you can always picture it, right? Like inner child work, where you can picture this part who feels undeserving or unworthy as a little version of you, a younger you. This part needs a hug. This part needs some love. Give it some love. Reparent yourself. This is how you do it. And again, like I said, it builds trust with the part and will help the part let go of that root cause. Next, I would like you to focus on the small wins. This builds trust in the process by focusing on manifesting smaller goals. These achievements will provide confidence in your ability to manifest bigger things later. Now, let's take this out of manifestation and focus on small wins in all aspects of your life. If you can celebrate small wins, you're building yourself up. It will no longer feel like it's luck or a fluke when something goes your way. No, because this also helps with like feeding that self-doubt. I want you to be like, yes, I did it. Like this, I'm excited. Like, yay, me. And for everything. And when I say small, like, hell yeah, I made my bed. Hell yeah, I got out of bed. Hell yeah, I took a shower. Like, hell yeah, I am taking care of myself. I'm making food. I am going for a walk. Like, whatever it is, I fed the cats. Anything, right? Like, give yourself credit for those small victories and look at them as small victories instead of looking at them like, well, I had to do it. Because no, you don't. I mean, everybody has a choice. So you chose to do it. Give yourself credit for it. It takes away self-doubt. This builds confidence and it builds self-worth. Another way to let go of self-doubt is by practicing self-compassion. Be kind to yourself if doubt arises. It's normal to experience doubts, but it doesn't mean it has to take over. Acknowledge the part that is feeling doubtful. Thank it for coming up. Let it know you understand why it feels this way, but that it doesn't need to be the one calling the shots. It doesn't need to be the one doubting. You can handle this. Be mindful of other parts that could potentially get angry or frustrated with this part as well, and ask them to step aside and let you talk to the doubtful part. Because a lot of time, these doubtful parts will have enemies with the other parts. And so it's always good to notice like, I'm feeling really frustrated with this part. It's not true self. It's another part. Ask it to step aside so you can focus on the doubt. Detaching from outcomes can be difficult, but also another way of letting go of self-doubt. And believe me, I struggle with this sometimes myself. But if we can trust the timing of the universe instead of fixating on the results, focus on the process and how it feels to align with what we deserve, this is how we can start detaching. So letting go allows the manifestations to unfold naturally. And then you can remind the doubtful part of this as it's kind of poking at you, saying like, well, hasn't come through yet. No, it's okay. It's a process. There's patience that's involved, right? And detachment from the outcome does not mean you just do it and sit and wait. You do take aligned action, but you take aligned action detached from the outcome. If that makes any sense. I hope it does. If not, let me know and I can get more into that. So once you're aware of the root, acknowledge the part holding on to the self-doubt and begin building trust with a part to shift its perception. You can use affirmations and visualization. Use affirmations like, I trust in the process, and visualize your desired outcome with as much emotional belief as possible. Because that's the key with visualization. It's not just visualizing. And a lot of times people actually struggle with visualizing, but what it is the emotion is what you want to connect to. And that's what really kind of empowers the manifestation. So keep that in mind. Repeating this practice helps continue to shift this part's perception. And I know I have said before, about like visualizations and affirmations, but the thing is that if you can get to the root of the blocks instead of like spiritually bypassing them and avoiding and all of that, these things do work. But we need to do the foundational work first and then put into motion these other things instead of just skipping the hard stuff and trying to go for the pretty vision board. Surround yourself with like-minded people will give you like an extra boost, okay? So engaging in like your communities, reading books, listening to podcasts that uplift your belief in manifestation, like here, surrounding yourself with like-minded people will further position you to believe in yourself because you are witnessing others that believe in themselves. You become each other's cheerleaders and supports. It's so powerful to have people doing this work around you where you can build one another up, celebrate manifestation wins, positively influence one another, and help you see what you are capable of. So these are the people that you want to talk about manifesting and doing this work. These people, right? Like sometimes we have people who are not really in alignment or, maybe just a really negative or just like they have their own self-doubts or just really critical. And these are not the people that you want to talk to about this because that's not going to help you let go of self-doubt. To summarize all of this, to wrap it all up, remember that getting to the root of self-doubt identifies the part holding onto the belief. By working with this part in various aspects, you are shifting this part's perception to trusting and not doubting. You're also building trust in the system with your true self in the lead. And that's what we want. We want to have access to true self energy, free from the parts blending, free from that self-doubt, so we can manifest our most amazing lives. So I really hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a blast making it. If you want to learn more, check out the show notes. There's lots of offerings. I have free offerings. I have all these fun things. So yeah, check it out. And until next time, happy manifesting. Bye now. Thank you for listening to the True Self Manifestation Podcast. Check out the show notes for any links mentioned on this episode. And while you're there, grab my free guide on how to tap into your intuition. This is the foundation to any manifestation practice. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode, and please leave a review where you listen to podcasts. And if you love this episode, share it with a friend. Thanks again. See you soon.